comedian David Boyle, and I'm quitting alcohol. So the holiday is fucking over. I'm back in Bangalore. I'm fat. I've got less hair. My skin's dry. I'm a fucking mess. Holidays are going to be a problem for me. I did not even pretend to eat healthy. My bitch hips are back. I've got a belly. I've got tits. 7 days and nights of unadulterated naan bread and Tibetan fucking noodle soups. And I am cooked. I did my final show last night. It was about 1 degree outside. I opened up. I did half an hour up top, and the whole time people were fucking talking, getting their food fucking delivered to them, and they did not understand my fucking accent. I could tell by their blank fucking dumb stares. I'm like, can you understand my accent? Everyone's like, yeah. And then as soon as I started talking, it's just blank fucking stares. So it was a rough last gig, but who gives a fuck? I had a great time in the fucking Himmies. That's done now. I'll have to go back. I've got shit I need to do there still. I have some fucking unfinished business in the Himmies, so I'll be back there. I stayed up late last night hanging out with the comic who runs all those gigs in Himachal Pradesh, Ashwin Srinivas. Fuck, he's working hard out there. When I saw him a couple of years ago in Bangalore, he fucking stunk. I was actually concerned going up there because I was like, this cunt bombs hard. But he's been running around for the last 9 months doing like an hour to an hour and a half, 4 or 5 times a week. And he's got fucking good. Like, he's super fucking Indian, but he's figuring his shit out. So I stayed out with him till like 2:30, 3 o'clock last night. Then had to wake up at 6:30 to catch the fucking flight to Delhi, which wasn't too bad. Then a mad dash from Terminal 1 to Terminal 2 in Delhi to catch the connecting flight, which was a 15-minute taxi ride between Terminal 1 and Terminal 2. Then we get our boarding passes and me and my wife aren't sitting next to each other. And usually I'm like, fuck yeah, jackpot. And my wife was like, we'll ask someone to move seats. And I was like, yeah, all right. I'm not asking anyone, though. You ask your person. And so she asked the person sitting next to her. The lady said no. So my wife was like, fuck it. And then I get to my seat, and I'm in the middle seat in between 2 fat Indians, a male and a female. And I knew it was going to be one of the worst flights ever because the male had taken off his shoes and socks and had his leg crossed and his foot like in my area. His bare, crusty fucking Indian foot was in my area. It had crossed the armrest barrier and it was in the middle of my space. And I'm like, here we go. This is going to be fucked. So I go to sit down. Neither of them budge. I'm like, I'm in the middle here and they just don't give a fuck. The fatty chick next to me didn't even like acknowledge my existence. And fucking barefoot didn't move his foot either. So I'm like trying to fucking cram through. I sit down, I'm like a millimeter away from fucking barefoot. Fat chick is spilling over to my side as well. And both of them have taken full control of the armrest. So I have nowhere to put my arms and I've got no room either. And I'm like, this is going to be fucked. But you know, with the armrest thing, like eventually you get an opening. Like you need to move your arm at some point to stretch or something. And you always get an opportunity to take some of the armrest back. Not with these two fuckers. These two fuckers were not moving their arms. Even if the plane went down, I reckon they would have found their arms on these fucking armrests. It was a 2.5 hour flight, and I did not find an opening once. I did actually get a slight reprieve on my right arm while the dude was eating. And how is the cunt? We get our meals, which were fucking shit. We open them up, and the dude next to me, who I'm just fucking hating already, like just looking at his stupid fucking head, I'm really hating this cunt. He opens his meal, he takes 2 bites, and then he calls over the air hostess. He's taken 2 fucking bites of rice, and he's like, get me another one. The air hostess is like 2 seats down from where we are. That's how far she got before he's asking for another one. And she's just like, hey, can you just fucking wait a second? And this cunt is eating like an Indian as well, just fucking lip smacking, tongue gurgling, fucking doing all sorts of noise over there. And I'm like, I don't know if I can fucking handle this cunt eating another full meal without planting my fucking elbow right into his temple and trying to smash his head through the fucking window next to him. The cunt got another meal. He did get another meal. And I just sat there looking at him, just hating him. Like, so much hate. I was observing myself hating him as well. I was like, what is it that is making me hate this cunt so violently at the moment? And I was watching him, and it was because he was so oblivious to how fucking disgusting he was. He had no idea he was acting like a piece of shit. He had no idea. And I think that is worse than intentionally acting like a piece of shit. Because if you're intentionally doing it, then there is room for you to change as a human being. But if you're doing it and you have no idea at all that you're acting like a cunt, then where do you even begin to start changing? There's nowhere to start. There was nowhere to start with this guy. He's just out there in the world with his crusty bare foot, fucking chewing like a fucking horse, asking for extra meals. He put cotton in his ear as well for the takeoff. He asked the air hostess to get some cotton, and he put cotton in his ears. This cunt was next level Indian. And I just wanted to smash his oblivious fucking head in. Fuck, it was a cunt of a flight. And then the fat chick next to me, she's watching a movie. My TV wasn't working either. Hers was. She's leaning on my side, on my armrest, her whole body weight. Like, she's got her elbow and half her body on the armrest and her head leaning into her palm. She's doing that on my side. I've got nothing. So I spent the flight 2.5 hours just in a very relaxing rage that I couldn't let out. So internal rage. I don't think that's healthy. And then I get off the plane and my wife walks up to me with some older lady and she's like, this is Dr. fucking blah, blah, blah. I sat next to her on the plane. We had the best flight. We talked about everything. We talked about life. I'm like, did ya? That sounds fun because I think I got a little bit of tinea in my fucking rice. Anyway, I didn't get any rest on the plane. I'm fucking exhausted. I'm fat. I'm dry. And I'm balding. And it's Monday. So it's time for Ask Boyle. If you want to send in a question, listen to last Monday's Ask Boyle to figure out how to fucking send me a question. I can't be fucked doing the spiel today. So just listen to fucking last week's one. So this week's question was sent in by Frenchie, Liam fucking French, over there in Christchurch, New Zealand. This cunt sends me a message first going, hey, I'm too broke to join the Patreon, but congratulations on monetizing your podcast. Here's a question for you. So here's his question. What would you do if the potty took off and you made a stupid amount of money? Would you still do your pod with Izzy and Dor? What would you do with the money? Let's say 3 million Australian dollars. Well, Frenchie, you fucking tight cunt, you've come to the right place. For starters, a stupid amount of money for me is not $3 million. It's more like $32,000 a year. I've been thinking about money a lot since I've been in India. Not for myself. I mean, like, the way people behave to get, like, money. Like, what people are willing to do and sacrifice to get an absurd amount of money. Like here, for example, this is how politicians get in. You either come from a rich family or you make a shitload of money in business somehow. Usually it's rich family. Usually you've already come from money. And then you join a political party and you have to brown nose the higher ups and pay a bribe to the leadership to get a position like a Minister of Parliament for some sort of like district. And the bribe can be anywhere between like $5 and $10 million, Australian or US dollars. Like the bribes are huge to get into politics here. And they're paying that much of a bribe on the hope that they get one of these positions and they will make it back like 10 or 100-fold through corruption, through stealing government money. And I'm like, how much money do you need? If you've already got $5 to $10 million lying around to make a bribe, it means you must be worth like $100 million. How much fucking more do you need? Like, that's what all the corruption in India is, just stealing out of the government coffers. Like, it's just, like, the greed is insane. I suppose there's an element of power to it as well. But that becomes, like, the same as money as well. Like, more power. Like, the ultimate amount of power you want to have is to be able to get your stupid, spoilt fucking brat cunt of a son off a murder charge because you own all the politicians and the judges and all that sort of stuff. That seems to be what people want power for. Anyway, back to your question. I would feel like the richest person in the fucking world if I could make like $250,000 to $300,000 a year doing this. I mean, comedy, podcasting, writing, whatever. That is all I would fucking really need. That is more than I fucking need. Everything would be taken care of if I could earn that amount of money. I don't really even have a desire to earn more than that. And I'm still going to do this podcast no matter what. I'm just going to continue doing it until I die. That's not 100% promise, but I have no intention stopping. And the last part of your question, would I still do the pod with Izzy Ali and John Doerr? For those of you who don't know, I do another podcast, The Oppression Chamber, and they're my co-hosts, Izzy Ali and John Doerr. Would I still do that podcast if I was earning $3 million a year? If I was earning $3 million a year, for starters, I would use like $1 million of that to put a fucking hit on John Doerr. Like hire a real good fucking assassin like the Jackal or something. But I don't want him sniping. I want him to suffer. I would like him to suffer. So I'd like some like plutonium fucking 106 or whatever the fuck it's called. Something that will leave him like shriveled up and bald in a hospital bed. That would be the perfect outcome. And then I'd take another $1 million and I'd give it to Izzy Ali's Somalian family. I would put a well in their village. I would buy his auntie a toilet, a porcelain toilet with a toilet seat and a flush and everything. I'd buy all his aunties a fucking toilet. I would take the hay off all their huts and replace it with roof tiles. I'd put solar panels on all their huts. I'd buy all the ladies' bras. Like, I would do a lot for his Somalian community. I'd give a lot of money to Izzy. I would just continue doing what I'm doing. Maybe, possibly, I would get some hair from somewhere. I would donate a lot of money into finding the cure for baldness. It fucking sucks, but what are you going to do? Anyway, I hope I answered your question. That'll do for tonight. If you're enjoying the podcast, share it around, and I'll see you the fuck later.